Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.
Hey everybody, so today just wanted to highlight some of the 3D object capabilities in LabVIEW. So this just allows you to load different formats of 3D image files and interact with them in a 3D viewer. So yeah, I've got this object loaded in here. I can move it around. I've got controls here so I can rotate it about different axes in addition to just dragging the graph. I can do scaling, so if I wanted to make this half the size it is now, I can do that. And let's go. And this UI is not anything super special. Highlight some stuff you can do with the scenes, so we can play with colors, so I can make the background blue, turn on axes on and off. I can change the color of my object. So can make it different colors, whatnot. So yeah, that's basically kind of highlights some of the stuff. I can show you now some of the code to do this and show you it's actually really simple. So let's actually stop this from running. So pretty much all this stuff is found. If you go to graphics and sound and go to 3D picture control, this is where you're going to find absolutely everything. So first we have this file loading. So it can load VRML files, ASC, and STLs. So I loaded STL file, but you can load those three. And then you can also create objects. So it doesn't necessarily have to be created from one of those files. I can create spheres and cones and multiple objects, and I can place those into that 3D place. So I can kind of create those here, and I can put text in there. For objects, I can add objects there. I can modify different details about how their appearance is. There's also these transformations, which I'm using for rotating, for translating, for scaling, stuff like that. And there's also these helpers for stuff like lighting and textures and whatnot. So this code is a really simple example. We're basically just taking in this path. And on startup, if you have something there, it'll load it automatically. If not, it'll wait till you actually update that path. But basically, we are just taking in this. I can pull this up. We're creating an object, loading that STL file into that object, and then just autofocusing. So we are telling it to make it fit on that object. So same thing happens when we select a new path. Can show you, and then timeout, just right every 50 milliseconds, we're just doing any updating to that picture control that might have happened. Background color, super simple. We're just taking a color box, converting that RGB to RGBA, that color change function, and just writing it to 3D to the background color property there. Axis. So here we are turning on or turning off the axis. So same thing, we're defining a color. So we're creating that color array. And then we are using the create 3D axis to create an additional object on that 3D scene, defining a name and some of the details that I've kind of set these all as constants, so there's not a million configuration options, but you can play with those however you want. And and then just using this add object to add it to the scene. So pretty simple. And then to remove the object, we're just using this find object and finding that name. We've named it axis here, and removing the object from the scene. So pretty simple. Object color, we are just taking the color box, getting that RGB array, loading our STL file, and then we have this scene mesh here, where we're actually passing in the color array. There's also color modes, so I can specify colors different ways. And yeah, I kind of have a lot of this just set a certain way, and then just after all of that, we're just writing that to the scene properties. Your rotates are nothing super crazy. We are just using get the current rotation, and then we are passing it into this find new axis sub VI that is doing a whole bunch of math to figure out where it needs to be. And then just doing a little bit of math here and passing that into the rotate object. And that's the same for all these rotates, just on a different axis. Reset, we're just rerunning the autofocus to just reset the object. Scale, we're just using this scale method on the scene object. Pretty simple. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. There's really not a lot to do some pretty cool stuff with 3D objects. You can really, realistically, you can even create your own slicing software from this, right? And start, calculating like G code basically. You could create like a 3D object of a 3D printer and then place different like STL files on that 3D printer and allow people to scale them, orient them, etc., and actually do like slicing and whatnot. So you can actually do some pretty cool stuff with the 3D controls in LabVIEW. So that was our demo for today. Thank you guys for tuning in.